Welcome everybody from the Sparx Systems YouTube channel. It's great to have you all here today. And once again, we're going to look at our urban parking system repository that's been designed and developed in Enterprise Architect. We're continuing to look at a number of different viewpoints in ArchiMate. And today we're looking at the project viewpoint. My name's Scott Hebbard. I'm joined today by Stephen McGuire. Welcome, Stephen. What can you tell us about the project viewpoint and how you can use it in ArchiMate and Enterprise Architect to tell a story that's going to be useful to business and technical customers alike?
Thanks for the introduction, Scott, and always a pleasure to be here. Yes, the project viewpoint. So it's different to most of the other viewpoints that we've created in this video series, in that it's to do with implementation and migration. And remember, ArchiMate is both a language and a framework, and it's the de facto language or lingua franca that's used for modeling enterprise architecture. And it has a whole range of different viewpoints that it offers and different elements and symbols that represent different parts and layers of the system that you're building up. So we're going to create this project viewpoint, and the viewpoint is primarily used to model the management of architectural change. So it is about enterprise architecture, and we're talking about architectural change and the migration process from an old or current architecture situation to a target. And it has significant consequences on the medium and long-term growth strategy and the subsequent decision-making processes of the organization. So the kind of things that we're going to see in here, things like, work packages and deliverables and roles, but we're also going to link it to some of the higher level motivation elements in the form of the goals and outcomes. So let's make a start on this. The first thing I'm going to do, as always, is go to the top right-hand corner of the application. I'm changing the focus of what I'm doing. Earlier today, I was working on geographic models, the geography markup language there. And I now want to change my focus to work on enterprise architecture and particularly ArchiMate. So I select that perspective and the tool changes its focus to be on ArchiMate. The builder page has popped up here, presenting a number of patterns for us. And so these patterns are things that we can use, and we can have a look at this from here. We can have a look at the implementation and migration viewpoints there, and we can see the project viewpoint. This is a relatively simple diagram here. We've got a work package, an implementation event, and a business role. We're going to do something a little bit more extensive than this particular diagram. But remember, Scott, these patterns are incredibly useful and a productivity gains for an organization or an individual. You can simply choose the viewpoint, click on the Create Model button, and that will inject this model into your repository.
So the pattern can help get you started, but you're not constrained by the pattern, and you can...
Not at all, Scott. EA doesn't constrain you. Enterprise Architect doesn't constrain you. And in fact, ArchiMate doesn't constrain you either. You're free to do a lot of things in the viewpoint that are meaningful for your stakeholder. And always remember, Scott, it's about the audience. You're telling a story, you're creating a narrative, you're writing a plot, and you need to put the elements in that tell that story and create that that narrative. So let's close this. I like to do things from first principles. So let's close this, but I encourage you to return to it and get some of the value out of it. It's not just ArchiMate patterns. We have thousands of patterns in the tool. So I'll close that. And now I'm going to look for a location in the browser for this. Looking at my enterprise architecture, and I don't have anything there for implementation and migration. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another package there, and I'm going to call it implementation. I will call it implementation architecture just to keep that theme going down. It's not strictly an architecture, but I like to think about it as an architectural concern. So we'll put that in, and we'll move it low down there by using the arrow little icon on the browser toolbar. Click that down, and I can move implementation down there. Let's now create the viewpoint underneath this element here. And we do that simply by going to the browser window. Let's move that across a little bit. And we can say that we want to create a viewpoint there. And the viewpoint name is, I'm just going to put that into my clipboard. And it's the project viewpoint there. And let's grab that one and we'll put it into our package. We create that. Enterprise Architect creates the package underneath that. And we can put some notes in. Remember, Scott, I always like, as best practice, to put these notes in. These are not something that I've made up in this particular case. They've come from the specification there. And you can see that I've made reference to that ArchiMate specification there. That helps people understand what the viewpoint's about. Let's keep going with our story and let's create a diagram. We can simply select a package in the project browser, and from the browser toolbar, select the new diagram icon there, and it pops up a list of ArchiMate diagram types. So here we have them, and we can click this arrow here to expand the diagrams that are under that. And I can look at this implementation one, and I can see there's an implementation and migration project one. Now, the significance of this, Scott, is you could just choose implementation, but selecting this particular viewpoint under here will allow us to see the restricted elements that are part of this viewpoint. So let's create that diagram. We could change the name of it if we want. We'll leave that the same. And you can see now that Enterprise Architect has presented the toolbox. We've got a blank canvas and a toolbox beside it with a number of pages, the implementation and migration concepts there, but also we've got, you know, a number of other ones down here as well. We've got business actor, business role, goal, and outcome. So let's put some of these elements onto the diagram. And what I'm going to do is, I know that I've, in a previous viewpoint, I've done some things with goals and outcomes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for those, Scott, and I'm going to go to the start ribbon here and the search and the model search. I could also just put click Control F on my keyboard. That's going to bring that up, and I'm going to put in here optimized parking space, and I'll see whether I've got, you know, something that will come up with that one. There it is there, optimized parking space utilization by 15% in year one. So that's interesting. It says that it's got a stereotype there. I can figure it, that's an outcome. So I do want that one. And I can
How do you find that element in the browser now?
Yeah, great question, Scott. As always, the right mouse click, bringing up the context menu, helps me with that problem. Halfway down there, we've got find in browser or find in diagrams. I could click either one of those. I'm going to find it in the browser there, and you can see that it's part of the requirements realization viewpoint. I could have also found that in the diagram, Scott, by going find in diagrams, and if it's in a single diagram, it will pop that up. So there I've seen it being used, and I can see also that it's related to this improved urban parking efficiency. So now I could simply select these two and put them onto my diagram. So I'm going to hit Control Copy, or I could go to my project viewpoint and I could say, look, I want both the goals and the outcomes. So let's put the goal in first and say, that's our goal. We simply drag that across onto the canvas and drop as a link. A number of other options there, but we don't need to look at those. It is a link that we want. In it goes into that position. And now I can drag this one in from the browser as well. So I can do that. I could also use the insert related elements function here, Scott, and I could see that it's actually linked to an outcomes element there. So a couple of ways to do that. I'm going to say that I want to put that on the diagram. I don't want to lay the diagram out when I'm complete. Well, let's actually do that and see how we go. We haven't done any work yet. It's a realization connector there, and let's do that. And you can see now that Enterprise Architect has done that work. The relationship has been put in for us for nothing. That was existent before. It's tidied up the diagram. I'm going to do some more work on this. So I'm going to move this into the middle here. Well, actually, yeah, I'll just move that over to the middle because I'm going to expand my diagram a little bit. And now I want to put in some work packages, and I know that I don't have any of those yet. So I'm going to put in a work package here. I simply do that by dragging a work package from the browser onto the canvas, give it a name. And as always, Scott, you know I like to put in some notes about that. So we'll put in notes into the notes window. So the structured collection of activities focusing on creating a digital payment system that augments the parking solution. So again, we can use the alignment tools here, which we've done in a number of other times, just to simply align that and get the spacing right. So that's vertical spacing and vertical alignment. So that's useful for us. Now let's put in a an implementation event as well, because that's something that we want to do as well. So the implementation will be the launch of the digital payment system. So again, I'll look at my implementation event there, put that in, and put the name of that in there, and I'll now put some notes in for that as well. And that's the milestone representing the activation of all digital payment and monitoring capabilities. Again, I'm going to use the click linker there, and let's have a look at this. We're going to put in some different relationships. We'll say that this digital payment work package here will realize that particular outcome. And here we're going to say that that this digital payment development launches this event here, so flows to or triggers it. So that's the sort of beginning of the diagram, Scott. I've deliberately put these in the middle because what I'm going to do is expand it horizontally and put in a number of different work packages, because the optimized parking space utilization by 15% in the first year, there are a number of different things that are part of that. We've got, data analytics capability that we need. We've got digital parking meter installations that we need to put in to optimize that space utilization. So what I'm going to get you to do, Scott, is to perform some of your time travel magic, and I'll finish off the diagram and we'll see you back here in a few seconds.
Welcome back, everybody. I've performed a little bit of time travel magic and we've now got our completed diagram. So, Stephen, what can you tell us about this updated project Viewpoint?
Yeah, thanks, Scott. We have completed the diagram, and you can see there are a lot more elements that we've put onto the diagram. But remember, the overview of this is that we are linking up our motivation elements, such as our goal and outcome. And I'm just going to use the layout ribbon and the helper panel there. I'm going to select presentation there, and you can see as I click on elements that will highlight the element. So that's the goal. Then we've got an outcome underneath that. And then we're looking at the work packages that realize those or that particular outcome. So we've got this digital parking meter installation, the digital payment deployment, and the data analytics. Now, the elements that we've added below, we had the work packages there. We also had this meter deployment phase as one of those elements, or a number of these elements are new. So we've got these events here. So these are implementation events, the things that are going up, an analytics dashboard release. So the work package is the things that you're doing, and the event here is, in this case, releases and launches and things. But notice we've also got another element here which we didn't have originally, which is a deliverable. So the connected parking meters, the mobile payment application there, and the real-time utilization report. So we've also dropped a legend onto the diagram, which has then coloured some of these lines. So you can see the lines now have got these colours. You can see this one serving, and what's this one? It's assigned to here, and you can see that role, which we hadn't put in yet there, the yellow colour tells you that it's a business element, and we're assigning a role to the particular work package. So analytics team and the machine learning expert that we've got there, in this case, the installation engineers that are going to physically install those parking meters. So useful diagram, Scott. I'm just going to show one other thing here that we showed on one of the other viewpoints as well. The ArchiMate allows you to put different visualizations onto your diagram. So long as it's meaningful to your stakeholders and doesn't interrupt the understanding for them. So what I can do is I'm going to go to my image library. So under the libraries package here, I've got image assets, and I've got one here which is the smartphone app and tap. So it's a mobile payment application. So let's just put that on, and it's kind of explaining what's happening with that. So I'll just put that on and set it as an alternate image, and you can see that now has changed that image. I'm going to just expand that down and make it a little bit bigger so you can see, and line that up, and you can line that up, and you can see now that we've got a visual representation of that. The mobile phone app that's doing that. So we can cancel or pay, tap our cards, and this one you can tap it on the meter itself as well. So
it helps you to visualize some of those deliverables.
Exactly, Scott. And remember, all these elements, have got information in the notes underneath them. I encourage you to do that when you're If you need to print this out to documentation, which Enterprise Architect can do automatically for you and generate first-class documentation in both Word, HTML, and PDF format, a number of other formats as well, including XML. You having the notes in there will enrich those publications. So that's it, Scott, for the project Viewpoint.
Excellent. Thanks, Stephen. To all our audience, we really appreciate you joining us today. It's great to see the numbers grow and for our audience to grow. As always, if you've enjoyed this video, we encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe to Sparx Systems YouTube channel. We always love your feedback. If you have any questions about the project Viewpoint or ArchiMate in general, you can reach out to Stephen using his credentials in the video description below. And on a personal note, thanks very much, Stephen, for your ArchiMate expertise. You make it look very easy, and it's very, very powerful to see how ArchiMate can be used in our urban parking system at virtually all levels, from goal all the way down to deliverables. So it's fantastic.
Always a pleasure, Scott. And just remember, we've only just scratched the surface of the tool's capability.